Hi guys, this is Dave Bennett with MOWG-crew.com, and I got an update for you that's just it's tickling me pink. If I don't sound excited enough, it's because I'm exhausted over all the work that we just finished to get this thing to run. It's only been functioning in the beta version I have for a handful of hours now, literally. I've just been testing away, and this thing is cool. You can raise your glasses to this particular update. It's a MOWG Pro 2.7 update, and with it, I'm coming out with a V5 Geo and V5 No Geo. Operates the same way as the V4 and the V4 Alt. We're starting with the basics. No subdomains, no backlinks, simply because we're helping people understand how to use the new functions and get them into it. But also because a lot of feedback has shown that subdomains aren't necessary for a lot of runs. Some people are benefiting from them still, so there's no reason to throw the functionality out. But at the same time, it's not required, which is just something that we're seeing over and over again from a lot of feedback. You go after long tail keywords, depending on what you're marketing, you're going to hit home or not on a first run or a second because you have to cast that net really wide to grab enough people. Just the way it goes. But for people who are doing their work, throwing enough mud against the wall with a couple of runs to see what sticks, it's great. For guys where it's not really working out, there are all kinds of little things I find people are doing. They're either having the main page of their website redirect off, or they did a run that had broken links. They took it down, put up new pages or something, but then they forgot to change the home page, so it's still linking to broken pages, broken links on the main page of the site. Some guys are trying to put a bunch of add-on domains on the top level domain and have them all basically pitch the same thing. They're just all these little things, and that's why I actually have that assistance bit because trying to, when somebody comes and says, "Hey Dave, I'm having trouble getting my thing to actually get whatever ranked or indexed," why? There is this live assistance. Okay, one-on-one assistance. We go through what you're doing and uncover what you've got going on and how we can fix it and stuff like that. Answer your questions, help with strategy and everything else. By having said that, I'm going to step off. That's 150 an hour and comes with three. If you get a primary license, it comes with 3 hours of this for free. So it's a $450 savings for all that personal assistance you might want to get at your level, whatever it is you want to do. And I'm only saying it to remind you that things are just the way they go. And some people hit harder than others, but it's not a one size fits all when you're doing runs. It's not like every run's going to produce the same number of visitors or the same number of rank pages and the same number of visitors. And guys who pop up high and then you get dropped back down, we have to look under the hood. It's kind of like if your car breaks, we have to take it to the car mechanic and he's got to dig in deep, figure out what's going on, and that can be the case. Some things are easy to see. Sometimes it's just easy to see that somebody's main page either doesn't exist or is redirecting off the site, and stuff like that is just immediately obvious. Other cases we have to dig deeper to figure out what's going on, and that's just training. That's just teaching people stuff. All right, having said all that, let me talk about the 2.7 updates. There are four of them, and they're no joke. You know how we've been talking about doing the form submits to make things easier, not just for yourself, but if you're doing work for clients. Either way you go, there are people that have trouble when they open the CSV file. Sometimes they'll open the CSV file and they'll go to change stuff out, and they'll accidentally erase what's in a final column over here and not see it because of the way the words wrap over, things like that. And I've had people say, can we create a form on the outside of this just to make it easier to know what to put in there? Yes, we can. And I really updated this to include like procedural steps, specific steps, and references to particular videos at the right time for going and learning more from our video series. Things to know. So it's really specific steps, and that's very, very cool. Okay, people have been asking for that. Things to remember. This is just some other stuff to keep in mind. Things like FTP paths. Some people get screwed up on those too. Beyond that, I've got notes, and notes is an example of if you're doing a run either for yourself or for someone else. I just got some notes up here about that. And then when you come down, it's like just capture the information that you want to use for your run, whether it's you or someone else. So if you are doing it for someone else, save copies of this notes file for each different client as you get this stuff figured out, for instance. But here I got the name of a client and an email address for the client to communicate with them. Here's the production name, the name of the thing we're promoting here. This is going to be the name that we put in to call the project. That's the destination URL, you can see. Okay. And then we got a project name. Usually you're not going to have a client create this for you. Usually you're going to create it for yourself anyway. But there's no reason that the client would not want to give you this and give you that, just so you know you got the spelling right. You know, you might have somebody's law firm or something and the spelling can be weird or the spacing needs to be correct. Guys are more than happy to help you get the details right. If you want to make it possible for someone to send you a banner image, then you might do that. But anyway, you know you need an image, a banner. If you need the default, we have one for you. That's this click-4-here.jpg. You guys are familiar with that. This isn't a trainer, by the way. This is just, for people who are familiar with V3, V4, and familiar with MOWG. We're talking about the updates here. I'll do a full trainer in a while, not long from now. We're going to release this in probably a week when we get everything ironed out. Keywords 10 to 100. So I'm just coming up with a standard here. It's like when I do a run, these are things I know I want. If you're doing geo-targeting, then you're doing geo-targeting. That's because we're using this V5 Geo. If I'm not doing geo-targeting, I go into the V5 No Geo. Okay, that's what I have my shortcuts here for. All right, that's 2. And then and the other ones you saw, that's just for my own use, the other versions I made. And in here, the notes do not include geo-targeting. They end with keywords, right? But don't think that you can just swap these. You can't. This has a few less vars in it to go with this, because not only can it not have the geo-targeting vars, it's got to have some other vars taken out, which would say in the greater Chicago, Illinois metro area. Okay, if you're taking it out, then what would it say? In the greater metro area. It doesn't make sense. We're not doing geo-targeting. So there are like 3 more vars or 5 more maybe that have to be removed in order to get rid of the geo concept, okay, from the run. So this is actually different. This page and this are a little different than the other one. So don't confuse them. Sometimes people think they're the same. They kind of copy one from the other. They try to use one var sheet in the other spot, and they try to run the profile and it says vars are missing, and they wonder why. That's because they're mixing and matching between those 2 projects, and you can't really. They're standalone. Having said that, what has changed? Man, I mean, this is pretty exciting. Let me just show you from the ground up. This is cool. Let me load one, okay? First thing we're going to do is load one. And by the way, what do you see here right away? That there's a new thing up here called Form Submit. Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? Let's go into our V5 Geo. I'm just going to go ahead and deal with that for my example. And I'm going to go to the profiles, and I'm going to load me up a profile. I'm just going to call it the test site GEO. It's got the MOWGsamples.com test site on it, and I'm going to create some project on there and have too few files so I can upload them real fast, and it's going to have lots of broken links, but you'll see what's going on. I'm just not going to wait for 250 to upload right now because we want to demo this out. All right, so what do you know already? You know what's going on here, and you know what's going on here and what's going on here. You realize this reads from cache, so this never updates. It's always going to show the first time it ever saw the file, because it's really reading from this unique vars, which once it figures out your vars and it saves a first value, it never updates and changes these unless you delete some vars, reintroduce them, or add some new ones. Then it would show you the new words, but you don't need to worry about it anyway. All you need to know is the vars to work with. You don't care where the words are, because this thing, of course, reads from your CSV file, as you know. And then we introduced the keywords file concept, so you have to select some keywords and save them to a folder. Okay, those are keyword columns, and that's to keep track of, when the pages are generated, what words they're using for those particular pages, so that you can know what's going on there, and you can deal with that yourself. And in this case, I want to save the geo-target with the keyword say to get those combinations. And maybe not all of this. I might just leave it like that. Take the focus off and hit save. Now this is new. Auto upload related files from the FTP section. You can check mark this. And when you do, what does that mean? Well, a lot of people were asking this. You know how we teach, you put your run up, and of course if you're doing runs for different things, you're going to put your new image, and I just put some funny images in here when I was testing this out. And you put your new image, your new banner image for whatever it is you're promoting next. And you put it in that face, man. You put it in here, and then of course, what do you have to do? You have to upload it to the server, right? And that's why we created this FTP thing. So you could upload that same folder. In my case, in this V5, I'm calling it related V5 files. So this replaces your MOWG V4 files or your MOWG V3 files. Guys asked if we could do a version without the word MOWG in it. Just, some people want to see if it reduces footprints. It doesn't really. Google could care. Other people want to just simply avoid prospects figuring out that we're all about MOWG and circumventing them and coming straight to us, which frankly I've never seen happen. But you could have always done this, and we just did it for you this time so that you have it in the V5 projects. We just named it something else. That means the HTML files are using the new names. Here's the point. This FTP saves now what you type in here. It saves it. Okay, and if I'm going to upload this thing, I wouldn't upload it into the project. I'd upload it right to the root, which, as you know, because I told you that this is a separate FTP account I created that goes straight into mowg-samples.com/public_HTML. I don't put it here because this connection will already naturally go there. And so it would just continue with the project from here, but I don't want a project. So I'm going to leave it like this. With or without that final slash doesn't make any difference at all. But what's it going to do? If I were to upload it now, and I can, then it's going to upload my what? My related V5 folder into the mowg-samples.com root. And that means it's doing it for me. So it's going to upload the CSS files, the images, and for everything that already existed, then it just overwrites. So that's okay. It's overwriting the same thing with the same thing. It only takes a handful of seconds, as you saw. But if there are new files in here now, because I put in some new images and or new redirect.html style files, like redirect-1.html for one project, redirect-2.html for another project, that kind of thing, then when it uploads, it captures all that. It gets the new images up. It gets the new redirect files up. Now, let me bring that back to where this was before. When you save what you normally want to have put up, and you would normally want to have this always go up again, complete with everything in it to overwrite. It's just an easy catch-all way of making sure all your new stuff gets uploaded. If you try to upload single files, then you have to keep coming here to change the file name all the time. We don't want to do that. We want to just naturally upload everything in here all the time. And that just means we're not going to put any really big video files in here, right? We'd have them be somewhere else. But nonetheless, this makes it easy for us to always upload the new, like I said, the new banner images, the new redirect files automatically, and that's what I mean. Let's go back here again. That's what this does. Auto upload related files in the FTP section. So on this interface, if I hit process, it will do two things. As a matter of fact, I can even show you now. Okay? If I do this, it'll do two things. One is it'll create the 20 pages and upload them, complete with the supporting files that go with. And I forget what I had on the var sheet, so I don't know exactly how many it's going to put up. For guys who say that they get strange broken sitemaps and things or broken files, it's because they have a whole lot of keywords in their CSV file. And when they make their menu, they make a gigantic menu with like maybe hundreds of items in it. and not even hundreds, I mean sometimes 1,000 or more. And so if you only set this thing to put up 200 files, but you've got like 1,000 things in your menu column, that's too much. But now watch, when I hit OK, so far you've seen this before. When I hit OK, now it's going to upload the FTP stuff as well according to my settings, whatever I saved in there, right? So that's done too. Now here, that's not much of an advantage, but where is it an advantage? The advantage is when you run the batch files, and I don't have a batch files folder in here. I did something a little different. I'll show you later. But if you run a batch file, the batch file will run both at the same time without prompting to continue or anything. It will just do both parts right away. It looks the same as it always did, but it uploads those related files. Now, what that means is all I have to do is put my new image in here, put my new redirect, whatever .html file in here, and when I run the batch file, it'll happen to upload all that stuff. So I don't have to go into FTP manually or go into MOWG Pro's FTP manually and update them to finish everything off. They take care of themselves in one smooth process. For those of you who do professional runs or big runs where you have many websites involved, you know how much of a hassle it used to be very often to either have to go into the profile for every profile you have for all of your domains and auto upload those new files every time. Or even if you go into FTP, you still have to go to every single website, go into whatever the folder is, in this case related V5 files, and you have to go in there and drag those things in, and you have to do it one domain at a time. So now when you think about doing 3, 5, 10 different websites at the same time with batch files, they take care of all this for you. That saves you like 20 minutes per run, or well, whatever it saves you. Probably saves you like 5 or 6 minutes per run, but it saves you the manual labor altogether. You do not have to do it. So that's one update, and that's awesome. People ask, can we do that with an index.html for the front page of the website? The answer is no. First of all, if it was in here, then it's clearly not in the right spot, right? Um, you still have to upload your index.html manually, and we're not going to automate that because too many people put these runs on their own websites and they would overwrite their main page, or they try to put it on an add-on domain, but they screw up the path, the FTP path, because a lot of people aren't used to it yet, and they could wind up overwriting the top-level domain front page without even realizing it. So we cannot make it that easy. You still have to kind of deal with that manually. Is it hard? No. And again, I have the notes and the written instructions now, but if you ever wanted to know, this is it. The video called the section called Making Corrections Easily and Front Page Updates. When you click on that, this says create an index page for your new website. It's using an old template, but the concept is identical. It's extremely easy to do. Just go see how to do it and realize we can do it inside of MOWG's FTP now. You can upload it with MOWG's FTP to your root if you want. All right, having said all that, that I just showed you is one of the 4 updates that went to MOWG Pro. That's a nice one because it allows you to do less manual labor. You don't have to upload those images and related files, whatever they are, redirects or whatever else, manually anymore. They take care of themselves automatically. And when you run this thing on a batch file, then you don't even see it happen. It's like invisible. And it just happens on perfect automatic, even if you're doing 100 different websites. All you have to do is set the profile up in the first place. Set that stuff up that you needed there in the first place. Okay, so it always knows what to do. So when it does the run, if you have that thing check marked, it will always do it. And that includes your new images, your new redirects, and stuff like that. Okay, having done that, let's move on. What else do we have? Form submit. Now, this is awesome. This is as powerful as batch files all over again, and you'll see why in a minute. Let me start with this concept. Let's say I wanted to create a form, either for myself to fill in or a client to fill in. Okay, and I'm just going to use this notes here. I think I was explaining this where I was talking about all the pieces, right, that we're going to put up. Now, here's the idea. Maybe I'm doing this for a client or myself, but I just want to keep track of each project I create at first. I want to get the stuff down on paper. Okay, I know I need a production name. And if I'm doing a lot of productions with the same template, with different keywords, different URLs, whatever, then I want to create a form that captures the production name I type in, the destination URL I type in, not the project name yet. That's coming in a 2.8 update where actually you can put one or more project names into, well, the CSV file, and that'll override the project names that you put on the profile. That's coming. It's not up yet, but it's coming. There's some people going woohoo now, because then you could put a list of like 5 project names, one after the next, and it could do, say, if you had your file count set to 1,000, then it will do 1,000 per project. It'll just do each project one after the next. That saves people a lot of organization time. Okay, that'll come out in the next update. And so hang in there, guys. We're not to the end yet. But what else? You might want your custom image banner, right? Whatever it is. Either it's the default that we always use, it's some that you could just type in, or it's some new image that you put into your related V5 folders. And I put one in here, Mickey Mouse, and I made a copy just testing to make sure they uploaded. And so I renamed this thing to bear.jpg. So that might be exactly what I put in here for this project. It might be bear.jpg, right? Something like that. If I put a new one in, let's say I have a copy of this thing, paste, all right? Rename. And I just want to call this something else. Mouse.jpg. That sounds pretty fitting. And maybe I don't even need this anymore. It's already uploaded. There's no reason to have to keep everything that you did before unless you're keeping it for your own archiving. But let's say mouse.jpg on this copy, on this setup here. So mouse, right? .jpg. That's the idea. So that I put the image in here like I should. And on my project, I'm just referencing it. That's why all this stuff is here, just to keep your stuff in order. Keywords. Maybe I want to go 10 to 100. Maybe I do. I could go 10 to 1,000. I'll tell you soon, but I guess I can tell you now. When I was testing the form submit, I did a pressure test just to see how far it could get pushed. And I created like a geo-target column for the form. I put in the entire all city-state combinations listing, cities with states, like 32,000 geo-targets, and I put in also like 1,003 keywords, and the thing runs beautifully. The form runs beautifully, and the next piece I'm going to show you that I haven't even mentioned yet, which you'll get to see soon. You're going to enjoy that too. It's huge. So keywords, whatever, I have some keywords. You know you need a minimum of 10 for the UAP project because you have to fill out at least 10 spots to have one per menu item on the page, right? There have to be at least 10. Okay, but there you go. And then geo targets. We're doing the V5 geo, so we have V5 geo targets. With or without commas, doesn't matter. But here you have it. These are my geo targets. Okay, I can do them however I want. Just city or city comma state or city comma state abbreviation or city abbreviation, like I have here, city abbreviation. With or without commas, doesn't matter at all. All works. So I have all the information I need to create a standard form, and maybe this is what I would standardize as a form. Okay, so watch how we do it. What do we need first? Well, we need a production name. That happens to be var 7999. I just know that, right? So I'm going to move that in. That's what that's going to be. What else do we need? A destination URL, okay, which I have someplace. And I'm just kind of like using somebody's static stuff. Where do we keep the destination URL? It's somewhere in here. Maybe it's at the bottom. I always forget. I'll rearrange these columns too before I send this thing off finally so that people know where it goes exactly. But it's in here somewhere. Let me pause. Oh, there it is. No. Let me pause and find it real fast. Oh, that's funny. It was right in front of my nose. Some of you guys probably saw it and rolled your eyes. Okay, what else do I need? I need keywords columns. I happen to recognize var2, var201, var204. Boom. Then that's my image. I know that. That's for my image, whatever the image is called. Boom. And I believe that's it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different things. I have keywords 3 times. I got 4 different things. What did I need? 1, 2. What else did I need? And of course, you can arrange this however you want. 3, 4. Oh, yeah. Geo targets. So let me get a geo target in there. There we go. Geo target. Okay, now maybe I want the geo target to come first or second. Maybe I don't. I mean, you can arrange these in whatever order you want. And so you can just decide how you want this to go. All right. And so let's come out with something called friendly names. What is going to be a friendlier name for our form than var 7999, which is so confusing people wouldn't know what goes where. Okay, so we're going to come out with a friendly name for our form. Okay, I'm just going to call this production name, right? Production name. So this, I might just call it destination link. I'll just show you this way. Destination URL maybe, or destination link, whatever. This will be geo targets, right? So I might just go city state list. Okay, city states. This is going to be keywords. I'm going to show you something neat with this. Keywords. I'm going to type keywords again because I want just one keywords column. I don't need the guy to paste keywords 3 times. And then this is going to be like the image file. Okay, keep in mind this form assumes that a capital letter and a small letter are the same. So if I do a keywords with a small letter or keywords with a cap, it's going to come out as being the same thing. Now, I got that much done. I'm going to take the focus off of this and stick it over here. Now, I got to save this form I'm creating somewhere. I'm creating a temporary form. This image will not be saved because it doesn't need to be. The final form will be saved. Once I know I have this the way I want, I'm going to save the form and it shall exist. So let me close this thing out. Again, you can put whatever you want in here. If you have a spot on your CSV file for tracking code, you can put it in there, call it tracking code, and a guy can paste in his or her own tracking code if you want to make that available to somebody or for yourself. That way you can put your tracking code right into the form instead of putting it at the bottom of the HTML file, right? You don't need to edit, scroll down, and replace your tracking code with new tracking code. If you make that a var, make it var 5555 and then cut this, put var 5555 in here as a token. You guys know how to do it, just like all the other tokens, just like this, but it'll be var 5555. All right, and then on your CSV file is where you would put this in. You may have to watch for line breaks though, just you'll see. But then you can do it. You can do it. So a guy can paste in their tracking code here, for example, into the form. Now, where are we going to put it? I need some plan. Let's say I want to give it a folder name called input. Okay, I need to give it a folder for the output files, but it's going to be our input, right? There's something that we click on to input, and I want to save it here so I always know where it is. It's going to go with this thing. All right, so I'm just going to do it. Let's browse. Let's go to the computer, C drive, okay, and you can just click the verbiage actually. And I'm going to go to my V5 Geo, and inside there I do not have an input folder, so I'm going to make one. Make new folder. I'm going to call it input. Okay, and there I have it now. Make sure it's selected, hit OK, and then generate. And it's done. It says successfully created the map file with the column mapping specified on the form submit page, newly created map file, customer input.exe, and a var sheet file can be located here, and it tells you where. It's exactly where you said. Okay, it's right here. All right, so I'm done with that. Now I could close this thing. May as well save it. What do we see in our newly created input folder?